Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mosaic Podcast. I have for you a treat today, and it's also going to be a treat for me. One of the beauties of this show is that I have the opportunity to just touch base with people I feel super connected with, but I don't really know. Didi Wong is one of those people. I just somehow reached out to her. I think it was a birthday. I don't know exactly what happened, how we got in touch with each other, but I felt just such a generous, kind, loving, compassionate energy from her. And I felt that the work that she's doing, which is, all you can hear about her all over the place. You can hear about her on news and on news stations, on financial places and conferences and lectures that she goes to. But the work that touched me most was just the simple feeling of compassion that I felt from her in just simple text messages, simple messages on Facebook, that who we are comes through everything we do. And so it's my honor to introduce you to Didi now. And it's really my pleasure myself to get to know her in this conversation as well. So we're going to discover her together. And I really look forward to that moment where we just sit together and learn about each other. So Didi, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the kindness that I instantly felt from you. Thank you for being a guest on this show.
Oh, Daniel, thank you so much. That was so lovely and so authentic and so real. And I have to say, I reciprocate all those feelings towards you as well. And this is going to be a different podcast to many other ones that I've done.
Yes.
Because I feel so heart-centered and it is hitting my soul. Actually, is you're making me, when you said all those words just now in introducing me, I almost wanted to cry. Maybe emotionally I'm in that state right now where I just feel good and I feel like I'm allowed to let my emotions come through, which
Good.
We set the intention for that
Yes,
for this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So anybody who's listening, just know that Daniel and I, with this conversation, we really want to make you feel something rather than just giving you knowledge and who I am. And we're talking about real stuff and emotions and be okay to feel something.
100%. And for those of you who want to, who feel frustrated by my lack of giving proper bios, you go to didiwong.com and just see it. And that's going to be in the show notes. You can read and drop your jaw in awe at all the things that she's done, all the things that she's accomplished, all the people that are dying to have her come right in front of you. But do that later, because right now you have an opportunity to be a fly on the wall and just meet this young lady and just have a chance to experience her and feel her. And for those of you who come to the podcast often, you know very little of what we do is in the words that we say to each other. The words just camouflage the mind. They get the mind occupied so it doesn't interrupt the feeling of the heart and the soul that actually happens. And we both want you, to those of you who are listening, to just allow yourself the space now to feel. Just allow yourself to go beneath the words of what's happening and just feel this person that's in front of you. And she does a lot of things to help a lot of people. And the fact that you're listening means that you could be one of the people that she could help next. So I want you to just be open to her and be open to that possibility. And you can see all that on didiwong.com and you'll get that stuff there. Okay. So Didi, I always start out by asking people what their parents did. What did your parents do?
My mom was in fashion for a little bit in her younger life. Then she is a housewife. My father is an attorney, a criminal lawyer in what we call it in England and in Hong Kong. And he used to be a judge as well. So wow. He is one of the top criminal lawyers in Hong Kong.
Wow. So I bet you grew up with, you couldn't get away with much.
My father taught me so many beautiful things that I still hear his voice in telling me to do things. Yeah. And, now that I'm a speaker, I think back to the times when I would go into court the Supreme Court in Hong Kong and watch him speak to the judge and speak to whatever, to the audience. And I remember young age Didi Wong just not really, just admiring, but not really understanding, but admiring, like, how did he remember all those things to say?
Yeah.
So I guess I got that gene from my dad. And, you know, now I stand tall and do my thing in speaking. Maybe not to the judge, but to the world.
The world sometimes is more important. When you can move the world, you'll move the judges as well, right?
Yes, exactly. About human emotions that we want to move. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about speaking, because I watched a beautiful clip of the movie that's about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And you spoke about now looking back, no one would ever know that you were not a great public speaker from the moment you were born, because you speak so well and you give a lot of talks. But talk to me about that place that was in you, that came out, that you touched on in the film a little bit, that spoke about this person that was scared to speak, or didn't know how to express their voice.
So the reason I became a speaker is truly because of Impact, which is the name of the movie.
Wow.
So what you will see in the movie is really what happened for me. And I will tell you the story. It came about because I hired a mentor who truly believed in me. And his name is David Meltzer. And I talk about him a lot because he is really the impetus of my success. And he recommended me to the directors and producers of the movie.
Can you pause for a minute and not lose thought of what you're going to say?
Yes.
Because I bet there's some people that are listening that have always thought about mentorship and have always thought about having somebody be a mentor.
Yes.
When you say he was the impetus to your success,
mm-hmm.
Can you unpack that a little bit for people listening? Because it's so easy just to say these things and let people assume that they know what they're talking about.
Yes. So when I was ready to come back out to the world after having 4 kids and finished breastfeeding, I had a calling for wanting to do something else. So I started going to seminars. I would go to a real estate seminar. I saw Tony Robbins. I saw Pitbull speak. I saw a ton of different speakers speak. And through that, I met David Meltzer. I watched him speak, and immediately, when you go out to any of these events, if you really find yourself connecting with a speaker, then please find your way to actually connect with them in person if you're there, right?
Yeah.
So he was offering a mentorship, and it was a no-brainer for me. It was just like, I'm running to the back of the room, finding his assistant and signing those forms. I did not even think of money. I didn't think of what times or what. It was just a very strong decision I made. And this is how I always talk about decision making, because as a successful entrepreneur, you must be able to make decisions and not be wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And in your decision making, I have been very accurate with my decision making. I mean, not that every single one of my decisions have been great, because I had to learn to fall to pick myself back up again.
Right.
But this one decision when I made to hire Dave Meltzer was the most brilliant decision. And actually, I have a keynote that's called The Power of Mentorship that I'm going to be giving in one of my next events. So it is so important, because I talk about the NBA players, the NFL players, all of them have coaches. Even the top gold medalists in Olympics, every single one of those people have mentors, have coaches who guide them. It's not just about the actual thing that you do. It's about your mindset. It's about your daily habits. It's about your spirituality, and even the practical side of what you're doing. So business as well, of course.
Yeah.
So Dave was the one who recommended me to Patrick and Kasha, who are the directors of my movie. And they told me that they were interviewing over 1,000 people. And as soon as they interviewed me, they knew I was the first one to jump on. So that was really nice to. And they asked me to choose which character they would want me to play. So I'm calling it characters just because it's a movie, but it's real, right? So it was the speaker who's never spoken before, the CEO who's run a company and needs more help, and a salesperson who wants to pitch to investors and want to become an entrepreneur. So I've been in pretty much the second and third shoe before as a CEO and the salesperson.
Right.
And I said, well, I really want a challenge. I want the audience to see an arc in my story, because then it will be really fun for them to see.
Right.
So I said, well, you know what? I've never been a public speaker before. I think I'm up for that challenge. So I said, if I get a choice, I would love to be the speaker. So that's how this came about, this movie of seeing me become a speaker.
So when you say it, you sort of say it as, I think it would be good for the audience to see. But did that also, on a more personal level, was that also something that you felt might scare you a little bit more, might be something that you couldn't just run your way through? Like, what personally made you choose to be the speaker?
Absolutely. I absolutely thought of my own journey, and I love a challenge. That really is something that I strive for. I don't like to be bored. I'm a Gemini. I like variety. So I thought of the speaker role as, wow, this means I really am going to need to go out there, learn how to speak, find myself stages, because they told me, we're not doing the work for you. We need to see you doing the work. And I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. And also the inner part of me had the confidence, even though I knew it was a new thing I've never done before. But I am a confident woman in general, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I know I'm going to be able to conquer this. This is no problem. But the journey of conquering it will be really nice for me as well as for the audience.
Were you always a confident woman, or was that something that you've learned over time how to become more confident doing?
I talk about this a lot because the Yes Academy, which is my company, I have 3 words associated with it. It's called confidence, connections, and cash flow. So in my keynotes, I love talking about confidence, because I believe wholeheartedly that if you don't have confidence, you will not be able to fulfill your purpose in life. Like, you have to do everything possible to give yourself love. So my motto for everyone is love yourself. Be your own best friend. So no, confidence did not come to me naturally at the very beginning of my life. And in fact, I have gone through many adversities. Yeah. It's actually would be a surprise if I told you all my stories. Wow, with all that, how is it that she can be so confident and speak so well? And
so, if you don't mind, tell me one of those stories, not just for me. Yeah. Because listening to you and listening to how articulate you are and how confident you are. Remember, part of the purpose of this podcast, underlying, is to say to people, who we are now is not who we've always been, and who we are now is not who we will always be.
Yes, exactly.
And so give me unpack that a little bit. Sure. You don't have to go into anything that you don't want to share. But sure. If there's a moment where you can share that place where you were lacking in confidence, where some things happened to you that one wouldn't imagine would have happened to you.
Absolutely.
How did you got the courage to go through that to get to the place where you could take the next step towards where you are now?
I have so many of these moments to share, Daniel, and this is good for people to hear, because we all have these moments, and it is how we challenge ourselves to get out of it that really matters. So it begins with me at a young age at school, maybe 6 years old, where I got very bad grades in school. Mm-hmm. And my parents obviously recognized that she's not able to digest the information, so all my tests used to come back with equivalent to an F or just a fail. In Chinese, it's called a 零蛋, which just means like 0 out of 100%. So I would get 0%. They have a system where they minus 5 points, 5 points, 5 points with every little thing that you get wrong. And so, especially in Chinese, I was just not good at Chinese in the language and the character writing. And so with that, my parents decided that, they would send me to England to have a better education and to be more of an all-rounded person. So I'm not just academically doing stuff at school. I would be doing sports, drama, music, all of the other stuff.
Right.
And thank goodness that they did that, because right away, knowing that I got 0% out of 100 and I wasn't smart enough, or I didn't compare to my peers, other students who were getting, because Chinese students are usually very stereotypically, right? Totally. Seen as the top, right? But I was not. So I had to face the fact that, my report card was very bad. So I have to go and study better in England. And now England was a challenge because I didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So
but also I can imagine it was a challenge because did your parents, did they come with you when you went to England?
No, they sent me, I was a minor on a plane with the air hostess, taking care of me.
How old were you when you went from China to England?
9.
9.
Yeah.
So at 9 years old, not only did you have the trauma of not being good in school and having the stigma of you're not smart enough.
Correct.
You also now left the comfort and security of your home.
Correct.
And went to a foreign land where you didn't speak the language at all.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so had to pick up again. Why do you think, because you're clearly an intelligent woman, why do you think at those early age, what is it you were trying, what were you asking for that you weren't getting at 9 years old that made you say, I'm going to not do well in school?
What was I not getting? I have an older sister. Her name is Coco.
Okay.
And Coco was the epitome of the perfect student.
I see. Okay.
And so I had a very intelligent sister to, I guess, look up to and try to be also like her.
Yeah.
And that opens up a brand new conversation of siblings and, how parents treat siblings, which I love. I love that story as well. I mean, I love talking about that. But perhaps just seeing myself as, wow, my sister Coco gets 100% in everything. Yeah. And my parents are so happy to see that of her. How can I not be the same? I came out from the same parents, and
right.
To be honest with you, at age 43 right now, thinking back to 9 or 8 years old, I don't remember what I was thinking.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I was just going with the flow. Whatever my parents said, that is who I am. Yeah. And unfortunately, because I do come, fortunately and unfortunately, back then, my parents just were very strict. If I didn't get a certain percentage, we actually got whipped. Wow. It's very strict. And in a way, I'm always thankful for what my parents have taught me, by the way, just to put the disclaimer out there that everything that my parents have taught me and have given me, I am 1,000% appreciative of and very grateful, very, very grateful. Even if, and many people have known this of me, if you've listened to anything that I've ever said, my mother is extremely, extremely negative. Yeah. And actually it's because of her negativity that I am probably the ambitious, independent and strong woman that I am today. So not to put her down, but she definitely does no praise and all wrong. Like she's definitely always pointing fingers. Right. And even to this day, it's the same. So were you, I'm always striving to be the best.
Were you
perhaps.
trying to show your mother that she was right by getting bad grades? Were you trying to give your mother that reinforcement that, Mom, you're smart, you see me right, and I'm going to get bad grades so that you can be right?
Maybe subconsciously. I don't even remember knowing that if that is the case. I mean, I am so in tune with psychology now and communication and personal development that that could be rationalized as that. But back then,
You
at the
didn't
age
know
of
that.
9,
Yeah.
it was just whatever. I didn't know.
I want to share with you something very personal. I've shared it before, but I haven't shared it with you. So I wanted to share it with you and see what you think. I have the honor of having a 30-year-old developmentally delayed daughter. It hasn't always been an honor. It's been oftentimes very, very, very hard. I lost my wife on her 8th birthday, and my wife was sick got sick on her 4th birthday. And so for 4 years, I was dealing with my wife who was dying of cancer and a developmentally delayed daughter. And so I think anything in the world is easier than having to go through those two situations now. So it gives me a lot of strength and a lot of compassion. But what happened is my daughter doesn't speak clearly like you and I. We can't have a conversation with her. And so even in just talking about basic human needs, I just wanted to know what she wanted sometimes. And most of the time, because I was around her, she found a way of expressing herself that I could understand. And I would understand, even though she didn't say it, that that's what she wanted. But sometimes I didn't.
Mhm.
And when I didn't, she would raise her voice and she would start to yell because I think she thought in her own little way of thinking, well, he probably hasn't heard me. So if I say it louder, he'll hear me better,
Right.
right? But it normally wasn't the volume that was the reason, it was the clarity. And yet sometimes when she raised her voice, the actual pronunciation of the words she said was slightly different. And I actually did hear it a little bit better, but most times not. So now, not only did I not understand her, now she was yelling because she wasn't understood. And when
Mm.
she was yelling and I didn't understand her, she would throw a tantrum. And that could be in the middle of a restaurant. It could be in the walking down the street. It could be with friends over our house. It could be friends at friends' houses. It could be just her and me alone. And when I still didn't get her when she tantrumed, she would actually come and attack me. She would try and rip my shirt or bite me because she was so frustrated that I didn't get what she was trying to say.
Mm.
And this went on for a long time. It probably went on for about 15 years. Sometimes she would act out like this 5, 10, 15 times a day. And you'd think being smart, I would figure out something, but it took me a long time to figure it out. And finally, I just said to her, Elisa, you know how much I love you. And you know how important it is for me to understand you. Can you talk to me in a way that's not with your words? And from the midst of her rage, she went to this just big Buddha-esque belly laugh, where she just started laughing and laughing. And she said, I am daddy. And she pointed her forefinger to her head. And I said, you little son of a gun, have you been putting thoughts into my head? And she went, yes, daddy. And her laugh just increased to that contagious laugh that you can't do anything but laugh with her. And we laughed for probably 2 or 3 minutes, but it felt like 2 or 3 months, where it was just she would die down and then I would continue and we would just catch each other. One of the things I realized from her doing that is that every single person that I've ever met does exactly the same thing. When they speak and they don't get heard, they raise their voice. When they raise their voice and they don't get heard, they create a scene. When they create a scene and they don't get heard, they try and destroy something. It could be a family, it could be a marriage, it could be a building, it could be the reputation of somebody else, it could be a relationship.
Mhm.
And it's incumbent of us as adults with each other to try and figure out how to hear people that when they don't feel heard.
Mm.
So I want to go back to that for a moment, because you've been very honest, very true. I think what you're saying is, if you were my daughter Elisa and you were speaking and you weren't getting heard, if you were yelling and you weren't get heard, if you were tantruming and you weren't get heard, what would cause you to flunk out of school? Would that be a desire to be heard by your parents to say, I'm not Coco, I'm me, and will you love me just for me? Will you love me in the way that I am also? I mean, is there any possibility that something like that was playing out? It'd just be interesting for me in my theory to know.
Um, Honestly, I really don't think that came across my mind. I truly was just not good at what is being asked of me in terms of the subject matter. Um, but I am sure if it's not academically, if I was at home and I was throwing a tantrum and I was trying to get attention, that absolutely
Yeah,
was the reason why I
yeah,
would do that. You know, and I think because I have 4 children, I
yeah.
have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and twins who are 4-year-olds.
Oh my God.
It rings very true that they would throw a tantrum and stomp their feet or speak louder because they want to be heard, and that is absolutely a very logical thinking of why
Yeah.
we adults do the same thing
We do
as
the same
children.
thing. We do.
Yeah,
I
but
work with CEOs of companies who do the same thing. I work with
yes.
employees of
Oh,
companies
yeah,
who
yeah,
do, right?
absolutely. Maybe they would do more.
Right, totally.
But definitely applying it to my 9-year-old story about me getting 0% with my Chinese, that I don't think that was there. I just simply was not good at my Chinese.
All right. But when did you then become good? Because clearly someone who was getting F's in school as a kid, dealing with the adversity that comes with flunking out, because you pay a certain price for that,
Yep,
being sent off to the UK
yep.
by yourself. Um,
Well, my older sister was with me, but when did I come out of that was when I went to an environment that I was more comfortable in.
wow.
You know, and I do think that it is innate in us because my sister was very comfortable in Hong Kong. She got all the
Right.
8 and 100, but she was still sent to England because it's a better
Wow.
education there.
Yeah.
Where I got sent, and I found myself in England being the way they structured boarding schools there. I actually was happier than my older sister was
Wow.
because I was actually definitely the all-rounded person. So
Right.
I started doing sports and I started becoming captain of the netball team, or I was in every single sports team you can think of to represent the school. And then I started doing music, and I was the leader of the orchestra, and I was in the madrigals and choirs and all of that. And I was in doing all sorts of stuff that give me merit, right? And then I was in the drama, and I was, you know, dancing. I got the roles because I was good at, you know, on
Right.
stage. So that's when it started changing because I was put into a different environment where it was not just about my dictation, my Chinese dictation of my mathematics or whatever I was doing in the Chinese school. And so my environment changed, and perhaps because I was starting to really come out of my shell as well. And
Yeah.
the teachers were very complimentary. And that is really important for people to hear. Teachers, mentors, you know, you're not going to really learn when someone is putting you down all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so there is an aspect of that from my mother that I've understood that has helped me. But without my teachers in England being positive to me, even when I didn't get F's anymore. I got C's and B's, right?
Right.
Even though I didn't get A's, I was never an A student, by the way. So they still loved me for what I was trying to do. And they
Yeah.
saw the fact that I was hardworking and I respected the teaching, and I was always sitting in the front row, listening intently. And the fact is that in the trying, in the effort making, of wanting to be the best student, even if I got a B or a C, the teachers didn't mind because they know, they called me Minette back then. Minette is a great student because I was always actually a teacher's pet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They loved me for my personality, for my hardworking spirit, for me just being a happy, bubbly girl and willing to learn. And that is the link that I'm drawing in how I've from being a young girl in a boarding school to now being a very successful entrepreneur, my link has always been, I'm always a student of the universe, meaning that I'm always there to learn. And perhaps because I didn't get A grades, I never approach a situation thinking that I know it all. I never approach a situation, even if I am this successful, right?
Right.
I have, I never, even with group coaching, there's other experts happening, and I'm always there as a student first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can serve better in with that perception of myself. And then I don't come entitled. I don't come
Huge
like
point.
it's just, and that is the beauty. And that's something that I love to try to help people with.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to judge, not to be entitled, not to come with a know-it-all attitude,
Yeah.
and always be willing to learn.
You said something earlier, and I just let it pass, but I knew that I wanted to peg it for a moment and come back to it, which is the sense of when you make a decision, make a decision.
Yes.
Don't be wishy-washy.
Yes.
Know what you're going to do. And in the work that I do with people, I see that people make decisions or ask for things, and there's always a lag time between the ask and the receive. Nothing comes the moment we ask. I mean, virtually nothing. Sometimes we get exactly what we want exactly that same moment, but very rarely. We normally don't eat at McDonald's all the time where you get guaranteed your meal in 60 seconds or something, right? When we order something, it takes a little while to get there. And what do you do with your mind that allows you in that lag time not to question the decision you made? Because I watch so often people say, I know this will happen for me. But in the lag time between when they know it and when it comes, or when it will eventually come, they say, oh, see, it never works. It never works the way it does for everybody else. Or I'm not going to be able to do that. I thought I was, but I'm not going to, which cancels out everything that they believe. Do you ever have that happen to you?
So yeah, there are times when I would have the insecurity and think, see, it's not going to happen. But more and more, I don't have those thoughts anymore. I actually say out loud, cancel. When I think of something that I don't like, and oh gosh, I don't want that to happen, I would actually say cancel, cancel, cancel. I actually really believe in the cancellation of my thought.
Right.
And that, by the way, is something that my mentor taught me as well. And I use it a lot. And I've been using it less because I've been having less negative thoughts.
Need to cancel it, right.
But so I got off the Think and Grow Rich Legacy World Tour last year, talking specifically about the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's truly my Bible to my success. And when you are asking me that question about that lag time between making that decision before receiving it, that time is when we exercise faith, which is principle number 2. The faith part is not so much tying into religion. So I'm not talking about faith in terms of God or religion, right? It's in terms of faith in your decision, faith in you, in the situation, in what you believe. And it could involve God if you are a religious person or if you're a Christian. For me, it involves God for sure, because I am one who believes very heavily with the faith that I have with God or the universe or anybody that you pray to. And then you have faith in yourself. And then you have faith in the situation where you believe that anything will happen when it's meant to happen. So timing plus opportunity, is the right thing, that people call it luck, right? And preparation. And I know that, let's say I'm trying to get a client, right? And I just sent them a proposal. That lag time between pressing the send to when am I going to hear back is that lag time. Many people I know would come across these thoughts. Did I propose the right number? Was it too high? And, you come to think of all those things. Totally. Right? Coaches, we all think of that.
Everybody thinks about
right? And anybody, exactly.
Right.
But my faith and deep confidence of what I offer, who I am as a coach, what I've seen transpires in my clients, I'll think, well, if this person looks at my proposal and thinks that the price is too high, but if they really want it, I know that they will find a way to get it. Yeah. If they're not meant to be for me, then they won't say yes.
Yeah.
And so I don't have those negative thoughts and like, oh my God, I need to get this client. And the negative thinking that spirals down and makes you an upset and sad person.
Well, it just makes you cancel out the thing that you want.
Yeah, and then it makes me think spiral up and think, you know what? If this person is meant to be my client and she sees that I am good for it, then she's going to come my way. And it's like auditioning. I used to be an actress. Same thing. You go in the room, you do your thing. If it's meant to be, it will come to you.
Okay.
And then I gave up acting because it wasn't meant to be. So people understand that you've got to first of all have faith in yourself, and this comes back to the confidence conversation.
Right.
Self-worth and confidence.
So I want to try and move away from teaching right now, because I know you're not trying to teach. I know that you're really expressing what you believe. Yeah. But it can come across a little bit to somebody who doesn't have that experience as a teaching, not as a real life, thing.
Yeah.
And so in the same couple of sentences you said, and I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to get clarity. In the same couple of sentences, you said, everybody has, we're coaches, and did we send too high of a proposal, or did we say it right, or are they the right person for us? You experience that experience of that, and maybe that's past tense a long time ago, and you don't experience it anymore. And you experience this thing of when you make a decision, stay with the decision, you got it right.
Yeah.
But really what I'm trying to do is, I know there are people listening now, and I know these people as well, that get to that place where they always second guess themselves, where they don't have that ability. Like, where did you get that quality that says, this is the decision I made, I will not falter. When I falter, I will cancel, but I will not falter, because this is the decision that I know is what's right. And I'm going to trust that I'm going to believe. So many people say trust in God. So many people say believe in God. But so many people don't live their life with what they believe. They actually live their life with what they don't believe, because they say, no, I'm not worthy of that. It's not good enough. God, I tell other people that God will take care of them, but I'm not sure he'll take care of me. Right. and that's what a lot of people do. So I want you to come out of your head now, and I want to come to that beautiful heart of yours. I want you to come to that compassionate place where you see somebody doing that. Tell them from your own experience how to let that go and see what's really real. How would you do that for them?
I received my gifts of being able to have faith in myself and being able to let go of the negative energies through my yoga.
Through yoga.
And I have been a yoga practitioner since I was 26.
So a couple of years now.
Thank you. I'm 43, so you do the math. But it was through my yoga practice and the spirituality of yoga and listening to many gurus, and not just listening, but embodying it by doing the movements.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that yoga is the anchor to who I am.
Well, even when you think about it, just the idea is you stretch to a place where you feel tension, and then you ease a little bit more.
Yes, and you can go deeper into it, and yes.
And so allowing yourself to reach your boundaries and borders, and then seeing yourself gently over the period of time go through those boundaries and borders. It's like your ceiling no longer exists, because your ceiling becomes your floor now. And
Yes.
now you have a new ceiling. And
Yeah.
so yoga is great practice for those people who practice
Great
yoga.
practice. Yeah. And if we can go a little bit deeper into the detail of that, is yoga. Imagine you're in a position, warrior two, which is arms out, straddle like a lunge, and you are sweating and you're uncomfortable. Your muscles are shaking a little bit, but then the teacher goes, okay, let's lower, go down a little bit more.
Right.
But you are already there at the giving up stage. You are mindfully in your mind, right?
Yeah,
You're thinking, oh my God, let me just stand up for a little second. No, but the teacher says, okay, go deeper, deeper. And that is truly a perfect analogy of life.
Yeah.
Because when you're at that moment where you stretch yourself to your thinking of what you can do,
Yeah.
and you want to give up, but then you have a mentor who tells you, no, get deeper, work harder, because you will reap the benefits in just 5 more seconds of that pose, deeper, lower, and then relax.
Yeah.
And in those moments in my yoga is when I know if I can do this, I can go out there to the world and apply this method into whatever adversity that comes my way.
So circle back with me to speaking, okay? Because it was
Mhm.
something you weren't comfortable doing in the beginning. What was the yoga-esque practice that you did that
Yeah.
allowed you to push yourself beyond those places where you feel comfortable? Because all of us know the saying, the magic happens outside of your comfort zone.
Oh, yes.
But most of us stay in our comfort zone,
Yes.
right?
So true.
So what in that specific case did you do that allowed yourself to go out from the place where you felt comfortable?
Yeah, I have 2 quick stories. One was in the movie where it was planned for me and I had no choice. They put me in an area where there was a big 800-pound live bear in the forest, in the woods, where I walked in not knowing what I was going into. It was a huge challenge. They said, go in that door and then experience what you're going to experience. If you come out, then blah, 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 right? So
Right.
I went in, I saw this huge 800-pound bear. And so he then came towards me. I was obviously very scared.
Yeah.
And he started smelling me all over my body, just getting accustomed to who I am. And then eventually, maybe after 3 or 4 minutes, he started just kind of hanging around me, but not smelling me anymore.
Right.
Like just being around me.
Right. He was
And
comfortable.
then I came through this very scary moment thinking, wow, I was so scared. I mean, I'm really scared.
Yeah.
To the point where, oh my God, he's so close to me. He's sniffing all over me. And oh my gosh, to relaxing a little. Oh, he is comfortable around me. To, oh, I can actually pet him. To, oh, this is an okay situation.
Yeah.
So I applied that to my speaking. If right before I get on stage, I'm at that scary moment. Oh my God, my heart is pumping. Well, I don't know what I'm going into. To going on, assessing the situation. Oh, this is not so bad after all. To relaxing some more and relaxing some more. Like, actually, I'm quite enjoying this.
Right.
So that was the scenario in the movie. Now, with my own practice, not being put in these type of situations.
Yeah.
My story is, when I first started, I hung on to pieces of notes. I would have my notes like a professional speaker back in the day.
Right.
We would have notes and we would go like this, right?
Right. Right.
And when I first started speaking, I had to have my notes. And it was just something I have to hang on. It's a comfy thing for me, right? The day when I decided, okay, Didi, you are going to step on a stage and you are not going to hold on to any more notes, because you are at a stage where you need to challenge yourself to let go of that comfort of your notes. So that was the moment I remember where I was like, wow, I actually never really needed my notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
because I had it all inside me. I prepared so well mentally, internally, that, and authentically, I'm just now who I am as a speaker. I've experienced it enough to put myself in that situation where even if I flubbed, I would just know how to pick it back up. So put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, like you said. Absolutely. You learn so much from it.
So what scares you the most now?
My mother.
Your mother. Is she far away or is she close
She
by?
is. She lives in Hong Kong. Yeah. Yeah, joking aside, what scares, I mean, it's not really a joke. I really am scared of my mother because, But professionally, I still get scared because when I have different titles, when I do speaking, you know, I'm not doing my same keynote. Yeah. It's a new topic because every room's energy is different. It invigorates me, but it also scares me. So it's a really great balance.
Totally. But you don't only speak, you also coach, you also have a family, you also have 4 kids, you also have a husband, you also have a life, you have a lot that occupies. A lot of women would say, well, I have 4 kids, I can't do all this stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of women would say, I have a husband, I don't even know how I can do the 4 kids, right?
Right.
And you seem like you're pretty confident and strong in those things. And I'm sure there are times where you say, this is too much for me and I don't want to do it.
Yes.
When you get to those places and you get scared that you're just not going to be enough, you're not going to show up in the right way for your kids, you're going to yell at your kids, you're going to become your mother to your kids that you don't want to be, you're going to not be with your husband in the way you want to be, you're not going to be able to show up for your clients in the way you're going to be. Maybe you don't get to that place, but I believe it's human nature no matter how far up the ladder we go.
Oh, yeah. We all have it.
We all have that something that says, I'm not quite good enough in this moment.
Absolutely.
When you get scared like that, what comforts you?
A massage. Truly. The other day, just maybe 4 days ago, I had a very long day and it was very trying day. Exhausting. I didn't sleep well the night before. My kids were sick. And I decided I needed to get out to go for a massage. And I always use my massage time to actually, I kind of not think, but then there are times when I do think. But my thinking during my massage is so powerful. I don't know what it is.
I have a sense that your mind doesn't not think often. I have a feeling that your mind is pretty active.
Only when is yoga. When I do yoga,
it calms down.
That's when I can switch off. I know when to switch off. I'm not one of those people who cannot sleep at night because I can sleep at night because I need to switch off.
Yeah.
But that is what I do. I would either go to massage or I would sing. I love singing. I would put my favorite songs on and just sing my heart out. I would binge watch some trash TV, I'll be honest with you. I would watch like Bachelor for maybe 15 minutes. And it makes me feel good. I would tidy up. I love decluttering. I would go and probably do laundry and fold. And, you know, something that would just take my mind off and it's just kind of like just doing the work. So those are the things that I do to relax myself.
So if you had a moment that was quiet with another person where you could really say what you truly wanted to say and be heard, not from your public persona of who you are, but from that very personal, very, very like when I feel you, I feel a very vulnerable person, which is not the persona that you have right here. But I have this ability to feel people from inside. It's a beautiful vulnerability. It's a beautiful openness. It's the person that responds to an imperfect stranger like myself in just a heartfelt way. That is not this, all put together, polished, right? from that vulnerable place, from that place where you are completely okay being who you are without having to have any persona, what would you really like to say to the person sitting next to you that they might not know about you?
That I struggle every day.
Yeah.
That I, just like anybody else, I have my moments where I just want to cry and give up, or like right now I'm going through something honestly with my husband, and because both of us have been so busy, and we haven't been able to really connect.
Yeah.
So we had a difficult conversation a few days ago, when it was Valentine's Day, close to Valentine's Day.
Yeah, of course.
And I've been married 17 years, and we are very openly honest with each other. I like to be really honest and communicate and tell him what I'm lacking in my relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that through being vulnerable and willing to speak the uncomfortable with him, and not knowing what it may end up being, but just being truthful. If you have a part like my partner, my husband is so amazing, because he would listen and he would truly understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And if he was at fault, he would apologize. If he's not at fault, he would just say, but you've been, but not in a bad way.
Right.
But we're just conversing, right? So,
yeah.
And I would not ever point my fingers at him 100%, because I know it's always a two-way street when something's not going right. So I was like, let's agree that we both have not been putting each other as priority. Yeah. Let's agree to that, which is true.
Yeah.
Children always come first.
Yeah.
And then, of course, bills and making money, and, trying to level up with our careers. But yeah, I told him that I don't want to be just a roommate or just a mother to your children. And I want to be treated like a woman. Yes, so I'm lacking in romance. I am lacking in being treated like a beautiful wife. Yeah. So those are the moments where, I really am an open book. I am actually very much in front of the scenes as I am behind the scenes. If you ask my husband, it'll be the same way. Yeah. But, these kind of conversations I am willing to share, but it's not something that I would just suddenly share to the world. But I want people to know that I am just a human being. I go through all the things that a wife goes through. I go through all the things that a mother goes through. I do have my moments when I do scream at my children. Yep, of course. And then I would think back to, oh no, and there are moments when I don't get the clients I want, like I said, and so yes, I go through just about all those things too, but I choose not to dwell in them. Yeah. And I choose not to, and I choose to alleviate my own stress by communicating it to like my husband. Yeah. Right now I'm working out some really, really struggling situations with my mom, and it's not good, and it will take time to heal. Yeah. And so, those are my things that I'm working through, that only me can alleviate my stress with myself. So anyway, that's, yeah.
I so appreciate you, because I don't know if the listener could feel the transition there, but I love you so much more as a result of the last few minutes. Because you became a very real person to me. Yeah. Not that you weren't a real person before. Sure. Like all your accolades and all your accomplishments and all that stuff, But all those are accolades and accomplishments and stuff. When what you just spoke about now made my heart just love you, and made me want to just, I wish I was closer to you, that I could hold you in my arms and tell you it's going to be okay. No
Right.
matter what happens, it's going to be okay. And it's what I want people to see is that no matter how much a person is or is not, how much a person thinks or doesn't think, how much a person makes a decision or doesn't make a decision, we all go through those moments, right? Where that's what makes us real.
Mm-hmm.
So in closing, when you look out in the world and you take a look out the window and you see the world that's out there, is that the world you've always dreamed of handing over to your children and to their children?
When I look out to the world, I really haven't thought about this much, but I believe it is what you make of it.
Okay.
Because there is so much bad that's going on in the world. Coronavirus, which is affecting my family in Hong Kong.
Wow.
The protests that are affecting my family in Hong Kong. It's been going on for months. Politics, just all of that. But it's what you do with your own life, one day at a time, that matters. So if I teach my children to be positive human beings, to understand that life is not fair, to understand that there are always going to be bad things happening.
Totally.
And you choose to let it affect you or not. You can choose to better it in your own way, which is
Didi,
the way
Didi,
I'm
hold
trying.
on with that thought 1 minute. I just have to go one place for 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute and I'm coming right back, okay?
Okay.
I so apologize. I'll be right back in 1 minute.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I wish I could have come up with a better reason, but I've just been drinking a lot and I had to go to the bathroom so badly that I just had to take a pause. So my apologies.
No worries at all.
We're almost at the end and I was trying to hold out, but it was just impossible. So when you look out and you see the coronavirus is affecting your family over there, the protests and all that stuff, I'm assuming that isn't the world that you wished your children would inherit.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And no matter what, how much strength they have, how much strength you have, if we don't do anything, that's the world they will inherit.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So if you could change one thing, if you had a magic wand in your hands, and you could take one area, what would be the area that you would wish would change in the world?
That would be color, meaning race.
Yeah.
Meaning that people would not see that I'm yellow and my husband's half white, half black. and you know, some of my friends are brown and some of my friends are, you know, lighter white, and you know, that I would want to change. and that we are all human beings.
Totally. Speaking as someone who wrote a book called The Mosaic, that makes a lot of sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Because the mosaic, even though it's made up of different colors and different sizes and different pieces and shapes and textures, it still comes together to create artistry that's the mosaic, which is exquisite.
That's beautiful.
So what would be one thing that you would suggest to people who see the world through color that they might be able to do to no longer see color? And it's not even that, like I was talking to a black guy, he said, I don't want you not to see me as black. Like, I don't want you to say we're all the same. And he was a black, he was like a black supremacist, he was like, damn, I am black. I don't want you to tell me I'm not black.
I guess it's more the negative stereotype that we on the media put on the races. So because what we ingest when we watch something or read something or see something is how we continue to think of that something.
Yeah.
So let's say, like, I had the most difficult time trying to explain to my parents that I am falling in love with a half black guy,
Right.
because of the only thing that they associate black people with when in Hong Kong is what they see on the movies.
Yes, of course.
And and there's not many black people in Hong Kong. So that is what I'm trying to say, is not so much color in just the general sense of it, but color and the negative connotations that are connected to the color. So yeah, I love that your friend who is a black guy says, hey, but I am black, it's okay.
Right.
But it's, if we don't associate the negative things with the black guy, then it would be great.
Yeah. So in closing, I so want to thank you for
Daniel,
for giving your time and for being so open and vulnerable. And if I can just summarize it, because really what you're saying right now just goes hand in hand with what I'm about to do, which is come May 1st, I'm about to set out on a 1-year trip around America.
Nice.
And I want to go and listen to the voices of the people that nobody listens to. And I thought those were like the homeless people originally and the poor people and all that. But it turns out it's my wife who looks over to me the other day and says, Danny, you're not listening to me. She doesn't feel heard in that moment. It's the CEOs of companies who feel like they can't be themselves because it's lonely at the top, they'll tell me, because they can't.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yep.
They can't share who they are with the people, so they don't really get to speak. It's their employees who say there's not an element of trust here, so we can never really say what we believe because we don't believe we have the atmosphere of trust to say what we believe. Mm-hmm. It's my kids who go to a school, and my wife passed away of cancer, but I've remarried, and I have my new wife has 2 kids that are half Latino and half Filipino, and so their skin is dark, but they go to a school where the boy feels like he's a round peg that they're trying to put into a square hole, and he just doesn't feel seen there or heard there or listened to. So I realized this dilemma of not being heard isn't just the poor people who don't have a voice or have been told to be quiet. It's all of us. Yep. And part of what I want to do is I want to go see and sit with the Ku Klux Klan, because when I think about sitting with them, the hatred that comes up in me around their hatred, around their bigotry and their hatred, just annoys me and bothers me. Mm. But I realize there's something in me that I haven't resolved. There's a hatred in me that I've buried down and a shame that I've put away so far down that I need to go to them to find out what my hatred actually looks like. It might not be racist like theirs, but there's something in me, or else I wouldn't react that way.
Right.
And so I want to go around the world and listen to the world, and I want to create a documentary.
Right.
And I want to listen to the voices, not because I want to try and change the world, but I want to listen to what the world is trying to say to me.
Right.
And I believe that if we would hear in the voices of the world around us our own voice, because we're all connected, we're all interconnected, we're all the same being. So I love what you're saying, and I want you to just know from from one simple guy's perspective, I want to create something that I hope one day will take color out of the eyes of people.
Mm.
I want to go that takes religion out of the eyes of people. I want to go and take everything that separates us out of the eyes to show the world that we're actually we're really connected.
Right. Right.
And proof of that for me is how 18 seconds ago I didn't even know you existed. But we had an interaction with each other. We text messaged each other. There was a closeness we felt with each other. This conversation only reinforces that, makes us even closer. And I just believe the more we listen to other people, the closer we become.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for sharing all you shared. I want to thank the people that have listened on the show, to the show, for listening and giving their most valuable asset of their time to spend this time with us. I want to invite people to go again to didiwong.com. I want you to feel the authenticity of this woman in front of you. And if there's a way that she can help you, if there's a way that I can help you, if there's a way the world can help you, we are our brother's keepers. We are our sister's keepers. And we are available, you to me and me to you and Didi to all of us as well, and all of us to Didi. It's in helping each other and listening to each other that we become stronger and better.
Right.
Because we were never meant to do it alone. We're meant to do it together. So thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Such an honor to have you, Didi. Thank you.
Thank you.